first part of the meditation that we do every day is called metta practice. So the Pali word metta means actually friendliness. So developing that kind, gentle, friendly attitude towards yourself and towards the world. And there is also a misconception, or people believe that when we practice love, kindness, that it's supposed to change the world. It's really not about your responsibility, that practicing friendliness towards yourself and others, that miraculously the world going to change, but it does change how you view things and how you approach to things and how things affect you. And these things does change. Buddha himself talks about in one of the teachings that there are benefits when we practice metta, which is the friendliness, the kindness, compassion. So he talks about in this particular teachings 11 benefits, but I'm not going to go over all of those, but I will mention few for this session. And one of the things that he addressed is called Sukhang Supati, which is a huge problem. It's becoming more and more evidence in the world today that people really struggle to get a good night's sleep. And insomnia is a huge problem. And the other day, I actually met a gentleman that was talking about that he doesn't remember the last day that he actually had a restful sleep. It's really difficult for people to fall asleep. I'm not saying that the metta practice is replacing or going to fix all the imbalances that you have in your brain, that you're not gonna tomorrow not need your sleeping aids, that if you are taking anything, whether it could be a Benadryl or a melatonin, or if it is something prescribed. However, it does improve your sleep. It's called Sukhang Supati. So you start to feel better when we practice love, kindness, compassion, because a lot of time our minds are just bombarded with so much information that we gather during the day. And so a lot of time there are positive and negative to today with technology and social media and all these things. And people do tend to go to bed with a lot of frustration, sometimes stress, anger, depending on the type of either the channel or the social media you watch. And these could be fears and, anger-based things. Sometimes it could be misunderstandings. And so when someone goes to bed with that type of negativities, that of course affect our sleep tremendously. You might have experienced this with yourself, and especially when you go to bed with a lot of stress. And so if someone can develop that kindness, compassion, this metta practice, if you can master it after practicing a long period of time, that there are so much benefits to it. And this is something actually, I think David Richardson in Wisconsin, Madison College, and they have developed so many research, and they have done so many studies on this, especially with Dalai Lama, that if a person practice 10 minutes a day, 10 to 5 minutes a day metta practice, that love, kindness, compassion towards themselves is significantly increase your overall quality of your life. So one of the things that Buddha addresses is that Sukhang Supati, that a person can improve their sleep. And it may not happen in a day or two, but if you regularly practice, if it's become a normal way of your life that you approach things, when you have a communication with someone, when you're on the road, or when you have to make a phone call to a credit card company, I don't know, whoever did a charge on your credit card that you don't remember. And so these are triggers. And so when we practice that metta kindness, is that you understand how I want myself and how I want my day to go about today. And so with that attitude, everything that we do going to affect with everything that we do. And so at the end of the day, when we go to bed, you go to bed with a very less stressful, clear, content attitude. And so that definitely allows you to, because your mind is not bombarded with so many things. Sukhang Supati. So you tend to fall asleep because that takes a lot of heavy burden that you carry around in your shoulders, and it definitely affects the sleep. And one of the things that when I noticed that at the hospital where I work, that when these individuals come, they really struggle to sleep because they don't know what they're going to eat, what's going to be the next meal of their day. Because a lot of these people, individuals who have mental illnesses, they unfortunately, they tend to be a lot of time homeless, and they feel this hopeless feeling a lot of time. And so, with these things, when they try to go to bed, and these people struggle so much. And when I was talking to the gentleman that I was talking about, it was a long period of time that what I noticed, that there was a pattern that he created of some of the incidents that happened. And these things just ignored and just, put it aside, and we get busy with life. And when this pops up, it's just like a computer on your phone. And you take pictures, or, wherever you go, when you meet people, you take selfies, you capture sunsets, videos of your granddaughters, grandsons, and special occasions. And then you realize after a few years that your phone is slow, because it's actually come to a point that the capacity of the phone is running out, and of course it slows the phone down. And this is what exactly happening to our life as well. And so this gentleman that I was talking to, one of the contributing factors that I noticed is that it was that. And so when go back, and whatever this whole thing started in his life is a very irrational thought, but he let it run rather than recognizing it. And so it really didn't help. So he started to adopt so many different unskillful things. And so not being caring to himself, and self-love, taking time for themselves, that gentle, kind, compassionate care that he's supposed to have, just went away and it vanished. And so it's really, really important that as we go through our lives, to take a little bit time to heal ourselves. And we get so busy, we get caught up with things. And so it really important to pause and think that I need a break. And I always talk about this as being a nurse. One of the things that I have to keep reminding on my 12-hour shifts is that, they give you 30 minutes break, and then in between you can take 2 15-minute breaks. And these are not, you don't have to clock in and clock out, but you can take it. And I hardly take that. And so every time when the company come and talk to you, and you have 2 breaks that you can take, and it's not going to affect your pay or your paycheck, or because people are concerned about it. And so please take that. They remind us. But with busyness, with everything going on, sometimes we just in this rat race that we fall into, and we forget about it. And so it's really important that we keep reminding ourselves. And of course, we're going to forget. We're going to forget that we need to do that. But this is a practice that we need to develop within ourselves. And so it's important that we take time. And one of the benefits of that is, at the end of the day, it's a timely benefit. And so you don't really have to wait years and years to notice the benefit of it. And you start to see that your heaviness that you carry around start to settle in a little bit. And you start to feel that lightness. You start to feel that gentle, kind attitude towards yourself. And so when we develop that, every time when we come to contact with something, and our approach to those things is a lot of time with, our approach to those things always going to be with kindness, compassion. And this affect at the end of the day when we go to bed, because that affect our sleep. And so of course that improve our sleep. So Sukham Supati, that's one of the benefits of practicing metta, loving kindness, compassion, because it takes a lot of stress and burdens, out of your mind, and it's within our control. So I wanted to talk about a few things, but with that, I'm going to let go. It's 7 o'clock. I tend to talk too much, as I always say. If anybody has to share anything, please take a minute or two and then we can end the session.